What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Lucas Live. It is Monday, August 10th. My handy dandy. This is like a character on TV. It's my handy dandy notebook, my little calendar clock, so I know what's going on. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I am excited about today's show. We have two people who are doing a lot in our community surrounding health. We have the Canton City Health Commissioner, first female in this position, which I thought was super cool. She doesn't know this, but when she first got the position, I read it in the paper and I was like, that's super cool. Because I'm like really pro-female, because I think they're the most powerful players in the game. Like the queen is the most powerful player on the chessboard, and I don't know why. But I know why men wrote it into history, like women shouldn't do nothing, because they was like, if we let them, they're going to be better than us. So we like try to wipe them out, but it's nonsense. Okay, so I love that she's in the position she's in. Amanda Archer, she's going to talk to us today about, some things going on. There's a lot going on with health. I don't know if I can have a salad. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm going to be in the bathroom all night. I don't know if I'm going to get measles, mumps, and rubella. I don't know what's happening anymore. And we're going to just have to ask her what we should do to stay safe. And we're also talking to Melissa Coultas from the CEO of Child and Adolescent Behavioral Services. I hope I said that right. And we're going to talk about that. Children's health, children's mental health. There's a lot going on with that. We're going back to school soon, right? And, our kids come home, and some come home and they're like, I loved it. I love my teachers. I loved it. And a lot of them come home and they're like, I hated every minute of it. I'm sad. I'm struggling. I don't know what to do. And or you're having children who are having behavior issues, and the school is calling. It's not your kid. It's the school saying, your child is not behaving properly in the classroom. Things aren't going right. We're not sure what to do here. And we often wonder, like, where do I turn? What do I do? Is there any help for me? And then as parents, I know as a parent myself, I'm often feeling like I'm doing the best I can. Like, I only know what I know. I'm doing what I'm trying to do what I'm doing. I'm doing some of what my parents did, and some of the things I took out because I thought it was nonsense, and I thought they were messing me up. So I stopped doing that. But now I'm like, maybe I should do what my parents did. They made me stand outside in the hallway with soap in my mouth or some nonsense, right? My parents didn't really do that. But we're trying to figure that out. So we're going to talk about some of those lines and what do we do and how do we look at children and their mental health, in today's age. Like, what are we doing? So I want to welcome you guys as you guys come in. I want to make sure things are moving and grooving. We're also going to share this broadcast. We are live. Hello, Jay Lily. I see you there. Thank you so much for being here. Long time supporter. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. All right, let me go. Now it is Monday morning, and some of you guys are going to watch this by replay. We totally understand that. We welcome our replay viewers. If you're watching by replay, type replay in the comments. We appreciate that. We'd love to know you're here. And there was a big concert last night. So, I mean, some people are just like waking up from the concert, or you're like, I'm not awake yet. Some of you, it's like your last Monday before your kids go back to school. So you're playing hooky from work. You're not up and moving yet. So we want to welcome you guys as you guys come in this morning. Also, I want to wish a happy let me see. I just saw this pop up. You ever see something pop up on Facebook and you're like, wait, I know them. Henry and Darshanette Zachary, happy anniversary. I think I just saw it was your 24th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary to both of you. And Zach, I feel like your birthday's coming up. Happy birthday. I feel like you got a birthday coming up. Is that tomorrow? I don't know. If you guys pop in, we'll know it then. So we want to welcome you guys. We want to shout out our sponsors. We want to thank SARTA for always riding with us as we continue to support SARTA, as SARTA continues to support us, as well as many great things in this community. We also want to thank Jessica Danielle and the Nail Bar here in Canton and NC Nail Lounge in North Canton. It's time to go back to school. There's a young lady there named Avery Ellis. I'm going to stop shouting out Avery only, but Avery's like my niece, and she's 16 and she has her nail license, and I think she's just the perfect young lady to work with other young ladies who want to get their nails done as school goes back in, and she gets it and she understands it. And she's there at Jessica Danielle at the NC Nail Lounge. So you guys make sure you check that out. Shout out to the Linda Reibenstein team. My friend Linda Reibenstein has been in real estate for over 20 years. If you guys are looking to buy or sell a home, check out the Linda Reibenstein team. Reach out to me and say, who's that person you said? What's that lady's name? I'm looking. I'm not sure. Is it too soon? Is it too late? It's never too anything. It's when you're thinking about it is the right time to start talking about it. So we'd love to get you guys connected to her. And shout out to Ace Carpet Cleaning, my friend Jenny Can. And Ace Carpet Cleaning, if you guys are looking to get your carpets cleaned as we end the summer, head into the fall season here soon. I know, does it sound crazy? Does it sound crazy that summer's going to be behind us soon enough? It's going to happen. I know. We still got a little more time. Let's enjoy it. But if you guys are looking to get their carpets cleaned in your business, and or at home. Ace Carpet Cleaning has been around for over 30 years. Jenny has owned Ace Carpet Cleaning, I want to say, for the last 3 or 4 years. She's put that signature pink on there and that great customer service that she always brings to everything she does. If you know her from Jenny Can Cleaning, you would know. All right, so check that out. And then my business is Tyndale Training. I'm excited to continue to do executive coaching and leadership development and training. And I have a client, I'm not going to say her name. I'm doing executive coaching with her, and she's been having a challenging season. So she knows who she is. I'm praying for you. Everything's going to be good. But I appreciate the commitment to coaching. One thing she doesn't let go is coaching. She's like, life is going crazy. She's like, but I'm coming to coaching because I need it. It's good for me. It helps me process things. And I definitely take a whole person approach to coaching, not just like, you're a leader and this is your business. This is what your business needs. I'm like, you're a person who has stuff at home and stuff at work and stuff for you. So let's look at you and who you are and how you are and what you're dealing with. And let's talk about it, and then talk about how processing those things will help you be a better leader at home and at work. So shout out to her. And then Footage Fusion, we're doing some great things here at Footage Fusion. I'm going to be telling you guys, we launched Rosetta's a year ago. And Rosetta's was an opportunity to collect video messages from loved ones for a loved one. So say it's someone's birthday or anniversary or something, and you're like, man, if we could just get all the family to send in a little video, everybody tries to do that. If they could just send a little video and say happy birthday, that would be really special to mom or dad or whoever. And it's like really complicated and nobody does it. And then when you get it, you're like, I don't have time to edit this or put this together. We have a service where we're going to help people do that called Tributes, Footage Fusion Tributes. Where you guys will be able to do that. And we're going to do some get well messages too, because I think sometimes people need encouraged, and it's like everybody can't come see them when they're dealing with whatever they're dealing with. But imagine everybody can put together a little video that says, we love you, keep going, you're going to make it. We're going to do that. And then the other piece is a legacy piece where we're going to help families capture their stories, because so often, for me, how it started was my mom passed in 2020. I wanted to get her story and I didn't. I wanted to interview her and I didn't. And I don't want other families to feel like that. So it's going to be almost like a FaceTime call. You're going to record it on the phone. It's going to be simple but meaningful, because I listen to voicemails. If I had a little video of her talking to her phone, answering some questions about her history, our family history, and all those things, it would mean the world to me. So I want to offer that service to others. We're going to really be launching that in a bigger way here in the next few weeks. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for that. We're going to jump into the show. Our first guest is Melissa. She is here from Child and Adolescent Behavioral Services. I keep saying that whole name. I think that might be it. If I'm wrong, I just said a lot of wrong stuff. But she is here, and we're going to jump in and get started talking about it. She was at the concert last night, so I really appreciate her from, partying all night at the concert, riding through traffic, and then riding in here this morning. She was here bright and early. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, my friend, Miss Melissa Coultas. How are you? I'm glad to have you. I'm really glad I'm going to unmute you. You just said, thank you, Lucas, for having me on. That's what she said. She was a little bit muted, and I got it together. It is Monday. It's Monday here too. So, Melissa, first of all, how do you say your last name?
Coultas.
Am I saying it right?
Yeah,
Coultas.
you're doing great.
Yes. I always feel bad, especially when you know people, but you know them, you don't call them their last name, so you say their name all the time, and you got to introduce them. You're like, wait, am I saying their last name right? People ask me that all the time. My last name is Tyndale. Mm-hmm. And people call me all kinds of weird stuff. And so then they're like, did I say your name right? I'm like, no. When they say Tyndall, I'm like, no, it's not right. So Melissa, child and adolescent, did I say that right too?
It's child and adolescent behavioral health. Yeah.
Child and adolescent behavioral health. All right. So you are the CEO.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit, for people who don't know, just broadly, what do you all do? What is the mission? What is the purpose? What do you guys do?
Yeah. So our mission is really just to help families and kiddos throughout Stark County with their, mental health. So we provide services, psychiatric services, school-based services, prevention services. We partner with the courts on multiple programs to help kids stay out of the system. So our goal really is to give kids somewhere to turn and allow them to have hope, allow them to get help, an opportunity for all kids.
Hope and help for all kids. I love that. So I worked in early childhood for many years, and child and adolescent would come in. I think there was activity going on. There was like group, there was stuff. And I would always know that you guys had a hand in it, but I didn't quite always understand it. So families out there, their child is having, what is the trigger to tell someone I should reach out to Melissa's team or the people at Child and Adolescent?
I don't know if there's one trigger per se. I think that if you are feeling like, you know, this might be beyond my ability or my expertise
As a parent, because that
as a
starts like
parent,
day one.
as a
We're like
parent,
day one, they're
we
crying. We're
also
like,
work.
oh,
I know you're like,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
call them
Can I
today.
call them right now? Right? Can I have them at the house when I come home with the baby?
I think that, it's up to the individual, right? And there could be something that where a kid, you see it right away. Or there could be some trauma that happened with the kiddo and maybe they're not showing anything at the time, but maybe they just need some support to work through that trauma. That's
Mhm.
also another time. Behavioral issues. We have so many supports around that as well, even for parents with our triple P programming.
Mm.
So there's just really a wide array of services that we can provide. One of the things that I like to do is get out and talk to the community so that they are aware of these services because a lot of times parents don't know where to turn.
Yeah.
Something I'm really proud of right now too, Lucas, is we have a diagnostic assessment walk-in clinic. So what that means is every time a child comes to CNA, we have to do what's called a diagnostic assessment,
Mhm.
which is basically to diagnose them with what they're going to continue seeing CNA for.
Right.
Uh, we have capacity right now. So we have a walk-in clinic where you can just walk in 2 days a week and be seen at that time,
Mm.
which is huge for our community. We haven't had that kind of, access for a long time.
Yeah.
And then our clinicians also have capacity. So we can get you turned around into an appointment right away after that assessment also, which is huge for us. So we're really trying to get word out into the community right now that we have capacity. We can see you this week. We can set up an appointment with you, or you can come in and just walk in through our doors also.
Interesting. And you guys are located out on.
We're in Belden Village.
Yeah.
I like to tell people we're kind of behind Roosters in
Yeah. We
Belden
know where Roosters
Village.
is. Okay. I know right where that is.
By Employers Health.
Yeah.
That's our Belden office. That's where you would come and walk in. But we also have an office in downtown Canton at our Shipley office
Okay.
location.
Okay.
Yeah, right by Refuge of Hope. Yep. And then we're
I
on
thought you
the
guys were
Plain Community Campus at Glen Oak High School. And then we have a
interesting.
office in the Alliance Commons in Alliance as well.
Interesting. Okay. So I started to think two different things because I started to think about Shipley.
Hmm.
And I remember literally they would come in and, I mean, it was child and adolescent, but at the daycare and like a van or something, and they would pick kids up or take them to group and come back.
Yep.
And we were open into the evening as well. So there were kids they pick up and bring back because they were there for dinner with us and things. And then I started thinking, well, wait, I think that was Shipley and all that. But
Hmm.
you guys, that's you guys too.
Yeah, that's us also. Yeah.
Okay.
We have 4 office locations. We see more than 9,000 kiddos every year. We have about
Wow.
125 staff members. So we're we're here. Yeah, we're available.
You
A
have
lot of people. Yeah, a
125.
lot of people
You
don't
have
realize
125 people you have to be thinking
I
about.
do all day long. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
know, right? Like, that's a lot. That's a
My
lot.
staff, they're amazing. We have
Yeah.
so many tenured employees who are just committed.
Yeah.
We're a community-based mental health agency. So, it's not like anybody's coming here to get rich, right?
Yeah.
They have to be just compassionate and dedicated to what they're doing every day, which is
Right.
so cool. And I have employees that have been there 30 plus years and it's great.
I love it. Good morning, Mandy. Hello. Thank you for jumping in here. Mandy Hannon Williams. Hello. Hello. Thank you for popping in from Texas. Mandy, you're an
Wow.
hour behind us. Huh? How do you do it? She's former military. She gets up early. She's what's up? She's from here, Maslin, but she now lives in Texas. Shout out to you. What's up, Mandy? Mandy's big on people getting their children get insurance on their children, life insurance, because if the unfortunate happens, the last thing a parent wants to do is worry about that. Thank you, Mandy, for your service that you do. Molly Little here from Nami Star County. Let's see, Melissa is a gym.
Lovely.
We love CNA. Saved my son's life. Wow, Molly. Thank you so much for sharing, Molly. I love Molly, and thank you for your openness always, Molly. There's parents out there who are dealing with some difficult stuff with their kids,
You there?
right? And they often don't know where to turn. And so so let's play through a scenario. I'm getting calls from the school every day that my third grader is, misbehaving in class.
Hmm.
When they come home, I talk to them. I've, taken their Nintendo Switch a time or two. I don't know what parents do these days. I've tried to correct them. I let them know, and they know they don't act like that here.
Yeah.
That's what their parents says. They don't act like that with me. I'm like, sure they don't. You probably have a few more consequences than the school can do. But they're really struggling, and they're kind of like maybe a little embarrassed too. They're like, oh, this looks bad on me. What do they do? How do they reach out to you? And then kind of what does it look like for you guys to begin engaging them?
I love this question. First, I think you are really connecting with so many people, especially, in our community who, one, where do I turn? Two, is this just something I'm doing wrong?
Yeah.
Like, is this on me? Um, who can help me through this? Should I know what I'm doing? Am I failing as a parent? And the answer is no.
Okay.
I think we all have questions. Nobody knows. I'm a parent. I don't know what I'm doing. I
We're
do
all
my
learning.
best.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing to know is there are people that can help you right at your school.
Mhm.
So, as a community based mental health organization, we try to meet kids where they are. So, that one of those, that's a big piece of our mission. And so, we have school based therapists throughout Stark County, and there's other agencies that also support that program as well. And so you can reach out to that school based therapist if you want to work through your counselor. That's fine at school. I don't know, like when we were in school, Lucas, I didn't have a school-based
I
therapist
didn't
at the
either.
school. And so
Never
I don't
heard
think
of
I
it
ever
until
talked
I
to my
was
counselor about anything but college, right? It wasn't,
like set my classes up or
yeah,
something. Like I thought
there
that's what they
wasn't
were there
that
for.
relationship, right?
Correct.
Our counselors are busy. Our counselors do help with, mental and behavioral health, but there's also that additional layer where we have school-based therapists in the schools throughout Stark County that they can talk to. So it starts with a consultation.
Mhm.
They sit down with you. They just kind of figure out what's going on. Sometimes it's anxiety, it's stress anxiety,
Yeah.
or something they can work through.
Right.
And then sometimes that school-based therapist is going to say, you know what? Let's continue these services. And they can then move to the diagnostic assessment and get them signed up for services through that as well. So
Sure.
they're there to talk to, just to, be a support to the school district.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing program that we have here in Stark County
And they are coming from your organization
into the schools.
into the schools.
Mhm.
So is that once there's a number of children in the school that has the need, this person is planted there? Is it they go based on need because Tuesdays at noon I can see a few children? How
Mhm.
does that happen?
So we have a partnership with the school districts and with Starkmar to have these therapists in the school buildings.
Mm.
So they're there, right?
Wow.
They're there to be connectors, to just look at, all kinds of things that may be helpful to families, and just partner with the schools and be there to partner with the counselors in the school districts. So they make, they're assigned a lot of times a school district. It
Mhm.
varies.
Yeah,
But they make those connections within the school district also, and those community connections within that, those smaller communities, which is so cool too.
that's huge.
Yeah.
So they're able to kind of so if I'm the person and I'm in Canton City schools, that means that I may be at say Crenshaw one day and at I'm Belden. I want to name schools. Some schools aren't even open. I was going to say Bellstone. I'm like, I don't think Bellstone's open anymore. And then other days they're kind of going to different schools as needed. Or and how do you like span out if there's a bigger need and then kind of be able to kind of I mean,
Yeah.
because I'm sure there's times where it's like there's the fires are going on everywhere.
Yeah.
How do you kind of handle that?
So again, we work with the school districts, we work with the counselors at the school districts, the principals,
Mhm.
and we try to have somebody in the school building at all times.
Yeah.
That's not always possible just because of bandwidth and because, right now,
So when you say you're in a
yeah,
district, are you saying you have a
we have a
person at every
classroom.
school?
Like we have a yeah, so not at every school district. We're in about 53 buildings throughout Stark County.
Gotcha.
And then we have other partner agencies
Mm,
throughout Stark County. So Comquest, Pathway, Blick.
mm.
We have a big,
Network
big
of
county, right? That
yeah.
needs to
Oh
be
yeah.
covered. And so it's kind of all hands on to make sure that these school buildings are covered and there's somebody there.
That's really, really good, that those services exist, and then people probably often think, like, when there is a service, there is a cost. So they're like, like, "Yeah, my kid's acting up, but the last thing we can do is afford something else,"
Hmm.
especially right now. I think
Hmm.
times are tough. So how do you guys assess, if there are more needs or something? I don't know, what how does that work, and who pays for what, and what
Yeah,
goes on
so
there?
we take commercial insurance, we take Medicaid. We have a partnership with Stark Mar. So if you don't qualify for Medicaid, you can sign up through Stark Mar dollars and get Smart Care is what it's called,
Okay.
to help pay for those services as well. So again, as a community-based mental health agency, we try to help everybody that we can. And that's, another big part of our mission. Meet the community need. Are there areas that aren't met currently that we can step in and be helpful? Is there funding that we can provide people who just need our services?
That's that's really good. Now let's talk a little bit about you as the leader of this
Hmm.
organization. I think it is. I said it earlier. My belief about how powerful women are in positions of leadership, and how you know, I don't know, like history and all of things. Just keep acting like women were in positions of leadership often that we may have not always been written into the history books or had high levels of influence. If you don't think my wife has a tremendous amount of influence on me and what I do and how I learn, how I move, and what I like, tremendous, and my daughters to be, for that matter. So I think that's wonderful, and I think it matters. And I think anything, even being a minority, it's like representation matters too, because sometimes you don't see people in seats, and so some young lady is thinking, well, that is not a position for me. So for you being in this position, what has it been like for you, and how does it feel, just as a woman in business, to know some other young ladies, your daughter is maybe one, who can look up and say, we can be CEOs of
Mhm.
important, impactful organizations. What is that like for you?
I think it's incredible. I think that with hard work
Yeah.
and I think with passion, I am so passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to leave work every day knowing that, we are accomplishing wonderful things and we're saving lives.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge. My office is kind of right out in the hallway where I can see kids
Okay.
come every day. And
Oh,
I love that.
cool.
I love having my door open. I
Yeah.
love when kids come in and they have a huge smile. And I think it's so important. And then I think for girls, I I tell my daughter all the time, there's so many intangibles
Mhm.
that if you work hard
Yeah.
and you work on, I always think like conversation skills and things like that. Women are powerful. Women
Yes.
are strong, and I've been so blessed to have strong women in my life.
That's great.
I come from the chamber. I love you shouting out all those chamber
Yes,
members at
I'm
the
a
beginning of the
you know
show.
that. I'm a chamber of my
But I
people.
think I've been
Yes.
even lucky, I lived in DC for many years, moved back here, and I've just had so many wonderful, strong women mentors in
Yeah.
my life, which I think I encourage women to mentor other women.
Yeah.
I think that's also important. And then I think it's, being confident in your background and in your experiences. And I think that comes with age. There is some of that, right?
Sure.
That comes with age, but and then just take the leap. I think that's one thing I always talk to other women about. I think I don't have a study per se, but I think men tend to apply for jobs that are, kind of above their level of where they are, thinking like, I can get that, right?
They do.
And I think women tend to sit back and say, "Oh, I don't have that skill.
I don't have
I
that
don't have that.
qualification that they
I don't
named
have that on my
specifically.
resume."
I have 9 years of that, not 10
Yes.
years of that.
And I
Yeah.
think that that's something that tends to hold us back too. And we have to kind of get beyond that. And I really try to talk to other women about that too, is that you can do this. And sometimes you just have to have faith and take that leap.
I absolutely love that.
Mhm.
I think that's tremendous advice, because it is funny, because men, um, they do. They say, like, when you do a study, like, men rate themselves higher than they
Yeah.
should, and women rate themselves lower than
Yeah.
they should. So then when it comes, and that's perpetuated through, again, history, through everything. It's like you're told you're capable and you're strong and you're able. So then you go at things like that. And
Yep.
if a woman is told the opposite, then they go at things differently. And so I think that's so key. So being in that position, doing what you do, 120, did you say 125 people that
Mhm.
120, that's a
Mhm.
lot of staff. That's a
I have some
lot.
good staff though. I have a great leadership team. I've
That's
got
great.
some talented people. We're a training facility. So we actually bring interns from across the country in and work with them and train them. And then a lot of times they stay here in Stark County, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And so I have, just our staff is they want to be there.
Yeah.
They want to have these positions. They want to train the next
Generation.
generation.
Yeah.
Um, they're committed to the programming that we have. I have an executive management team of about 16 program managers. They are, they make decisions. We
Yeah.
all weigh in. We all come together once a month. We talk about the needs of the community. How can we meet those needs? And I think it's important to listen to your staff because they're the boots on the
Yeah.
ground. They know what's happening throughout our community. And so we've worked really hard on culture
Yeah.
and on just kind of taking a look at the impact that we make on the community.
That's so good. And to shout out your team and to know that they are the reason why you're able to do any person in a position of leadership without other great leaders.
Yeah,
It doesn't work. And I always told my kids this is just a philosophy in business, and others say this, like, great leaders don't make great followers. Great leaders make other great leaders.
I love that.
So that's when you know you're being successful. When you
Yeah.
look around and they're not incapable. And it's not that when I call off, the place falls apart. It's like when I call off, the leaders keep leading. They've
Yeah.
been rowing the boat too.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just, I'm not rowing today, but they've been rowing with me and they're going to keep rowing the boat.
Yeah.
And there's decisions that maybe I have to make, but there's a lot that they do. So shout out to your team
love that.
there as
Yeah.
well. So to a family out there who is, going into the school year, they're kind of unsure about what's going on with their child, mental health, behavior. How could they reach out to you? What should their next step be?
Yeah, so I think the first step would be to call our office, but you can go to childandadolescent.org and get all of the information that you need, our phone number, our office locations, our different programs. I don't think people understand how many services that we provide. We have, as I mentioned, our school base, we have our medical team. So we have a growing medical team. They're absolutely incredible. They're here to service also. I know we help a lot of pediatricians throughout the county. We're connected to different family practices throughout the county who come and receive help from our experts. Also, we have our prevention group. So we're in a lot of after school programming, before school programming. We partner with the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, the YW, JRC, you name it, just to help with prevention at a younger age and help work with families just to kind of help them through, situation, coping mechanisms, resiliency. We talked about that even before the show and
Yeah.
how vital that is.
Yeah.
To just, having that framework at a younger age is so important. So we have a lot of programming there as well. Mentioned we partner with the courts on a lot of different programming just to help keep the kiddos out of the system. And we have some amazing statistics and things that we're doing in the community where that's working. And I'm really proud of that team as well. So shout out just to, our team, things that we're doing every day. And I encourage you, call me. I'd be happy to get you set up with services. Reach out to me. If you want to learn more about CNA or get involved, we have opportunities to get involved. We have different committees. We have just so many things that you can do to actively participate and become an advocate for mental health through CNA.
I love that. Thank you so much. There's not enough time. We had so many conversations this morning. I'm going to bring Amanda will be on soon. You have an important meeting. We're going to get you out of here. I was not going to hold you hostage. You'd be like, Lucas, you said I could go. But thank you so much. And I think one day too, we're going to be doing some more panels as well. And have you guys back as a panel and talk about some of these things. Continue to talk about it because I think it's a lot like pencils, papers, book bags, pens. At the beginning of the school year, you get those things.
Mm-hmm.
As the school year goes on, those things wear out. And those families who do not have resources are stuck saying, well, I don't know where there's a pencil to do your homework. I don't know where there's a pen. I don't know where there's paper. I'm trying to figure out what we're going to have for dinner. And so they start to dwindle and we just keep going. And so one of the things I often think about is how do we continue to provide the supplies that are needed as the year goes on, because everything is taken care of right now, but won't be in December or January. But the same thing happens when it comes to their behavior and their mental health. They may go into the school year up or down, whatever it is. They may get the help, they may not get the help. But then there's going to be months down the road where somebody's going to be saying, well, it's probably too late to get anybody to support us because I didn't sign up for the thing at the beginning of the year. But you guys are still there.
And it's okay to ask for help,
Yeah.
right? Parents and kids. I think that's, if I could leave you with any takeaway, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Talk to your school counselor. My daughter knows she has a direct line into her counselor if she ever needs somebody. It's just an extra layer of support.
So good.
Yeah.
And we said everybody should go to counseling.
I
right?
mean, it doesn't hurt.
And we there's stigma. I think the stigma's better, but I do think even children and those who need we all need somebody to talk to.
We all need somebody
So
to
we
talk
call
to.
it counseling in today's day and age and things, and there's professionals who can walk you through it better than others. And though I think throughout all of history, we all needed collective and community, and we needed support. And sometimes children need somebody outside of their parents.
Yeah.
Because they're having a hard time telling their parents what's really going on, and their parents may be having a hard time receiving because it sometimes feels like an indictment on me as a parent.
I love that. It's 100% true. And again, it's okay as a parent. We talked about that of am I failing as a parent if I'm no, I mean, I think nobody has all the answers. And I think that's the thing we have to remember.
I love it. Melissa, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Thank you. You came straight from the concert last night at the Hall of Fame. She has many things going on. It's been my pleasure having you.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much.
very
All right,
much.
ladies and gentlemen, Melissa Coultas, child and adolescent child and adolescents. She was here today to talk to us about those things. You guys make sure you reach out to them. If you guys need some support or some services, those services are available to you. Shout out to Molly. Molly made a comment here. Molly said, Ohio Rise, meds providers, talk therapy, CNA has it all. I love that. They're even helping us transition from adolescent to adult care. I cannot gush about them or Melissa enough. Molly, thank you so much. And I can't gush enough about Molly at NAMI Star County. You guys, if you guys need their support, NAMI is a great organization, help connect you to organizations such as Child and Adolescent and many of these other places. She knows all the names of all the places and all the people. They do that. And then Molly is also someone who's open about how these services have helped her and her son and things like that. And I think that's important too, because sometimes we all seem like the healed and the helped and we're already good. And so we're helping the community, not realizing many of us who are in the community needed or need these services as well. So thank you so much, Molly. Good morning, Shahidra. Great conversations today. Definitely an ongoing conversation for sure. Shahidra, I'm gonna call you. I need you to come back on. I need you to host something with me. Okay, Shahidra? Just say yes in the comments, Shahidra, if you're willing to just host something with me. It's random. You don't need to know when or what, or I don't know, you may be busy, doesn't matter. But I need you to sign up and just say yes. Okay. Shout out to the Strong Family Wellness Foundation and the work that they do here in our community as well. You guys may hear about their big event usually in the spring, April, I think it is. But they do more, and I'm just a huge fan of Shauna Shahidra Strong. So shout out to them and everything they're doing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring on our next guest. She is the health commissioner here in the city of Canton. Not all of Ohio. I think I tried to suggest yesterday at one point. I was like, she's the commissioner of the whole world. But right here in Canton City, there's plenty to talk about. And then plenty of the issues that are reaching further communities are reaching our community. So I'm excited to talk about that this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My friend, Miss Amanda Archer. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Good
Thanks
morning.
for having
Good morning. Yes. Actually, you were someone who as I started the show back in, what month was that? April, May. I started doing season 6 and we started again. Yeah. And your name came up and somebody said, you should have Amanda on.
Oh boy.
And I said, I know.
Oh.
She said she was on my list too.
Yes.
And I'm glad to have you here today.
Yeah, this is great. We see each other out in the community and chat and talk, but sit down face to face. This is awesome. I love this.
I appreciate it on this Monday morning. So right now, let's jump in. There's a lot going on with.
Yes, we've been very busy, especially over the last month or so.
So what's going on out there? Okay,
what do you want to dive into?
Okay, first I want to know: can I have a salad?
You can have a salad.
Lettuce? I can. It's salads are back in.
Yeah. So
what was that?
Yeah. What was that? On? So that was a Cyclospora outbreak. We at the health department and all the health departments across Ohio and the nation, we do epidemiology and disease surveillance and investigation. So the health department, our tenants are prevent, promote, and protect. So we want to prevent the spread of communicable disease. So that's like the main thing that we are here for, is to keep the community safe from infectious disease. And so we started getting a little bit of an increase in cases of people who were going to the doctor or going to the hospital and reporting some GI issues and significant GI issues and testing positive for this parasite. And the same thing was being seen kind of all over, kind of Northeast and mostly Northwest Ohio and into Michigan. And so when we see that, we see an increase and then we respond, we do interviews and we try to trace back where people might have eaten or what their exposure might have been. And from our epidemiology, or we'll call them epi interviews, along with the other ones throughout the state, they did identify that there's a high signal for lettuce from one food producer.
I wasn't crazy.
Yeah. And
when I was eating all candy bars last week, because that's all I could do. I was like, I got to eat all cake and candy bars.
It's recommended to just eat chocolate instead of lettuce. I see.
In place of lettuce,
yeah.
Right.
So the feds came out and they did share that they thought that they found the food source. that manufacturer has pulled that off of the shelves.
Mhm.
And so the good thing, I guess, about this is that if lettuce is the culprit, it is perishable. So by this time, it shouldn't still be on the shelves, right?
Mhm.
Because you can't really freeze it. You can't really hang on to it like
Right.
other things. But we are still seeing cases. So, so I think the lettuce that is out there is fine. We have a lot of local lettuce growers, which would be a great kind of pivot in the
Yeah.
meantime.
As opposed to, so let's look at this. So we're saying most of us get our lettuce from, I don't know, Walmart, Meijer,
Big grocery,
big
we'll call
grocery
it. Big
store.
grocery.
There
Yeah.
we go. Okay,
Yeah.
big grocery. Go to big grocery, and I get my bag of lettuce. We don't
Yep.
even peel it off the head anymore.
No.
We're all lazy.
Ain't got time for that.
We ain't got time for that. We got bags of shredded lettuce mix, and all this silliness, and that's what we get, right? And
Right.
and that's all we know. And then they're saying there's something wrong with lettuce, and we're a little uncertain. And I don't know. It was pretty scary. And I was
Yes.
hearing people were like, I don't know, like I think the term was explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that. I was going to let you say that.
Thank you. Explosive.
Explosive.
Like shoot you off the toilet. Like you're
It's-
sitting there, next thing you know, you're flying across the bathroom. Explosive diarrhea. And then it was lasting for like, I don't know, days, a
Yeah,
week,
yeah,
weeks. I was
yeah.
like, it's one thing to have a stomach bug, as many of us have had.
Sure.
And usually within 24 to 48 hours, you're like,
Yep.
I'm good. You know, I'm getting better. I'm still a little weak, but you're not sitting on the toilet for
Right.
days. Was this actually causing days and weeks?
Yes. Yeah. So this is, I mean, if you think about it, there's a couple things here. Like, so when you are exposed to the parasite or you ingest it, it has to sit in your GI tract for like 2 weeks before you get sick. And right. So there's a
Didn't
little bit
know
of like
that.
anxiety. Once we knew it was out there, it's like, well, I don't want to eat lettuce today because I might get sick in 2 weeks and you might think you're fine. So if you have had lettuce and then you get sick within a day or two, it, it could just not be sitting right with you. It could be something
Mhm.
else you ate. Typically, when people get sick,
Mhm.
they want to blame the last thing they ate.
Of course.
But it's usually not that because the parasite or the pathogen has to replicate in your system to get you sick. Like so, the process and that time, that incubation period, is different for every parasite. This one is two weeks, and then yes, people were sick, and they just reported two deaths from this, which is kind of abnormal. Our county is seeing 137 cases across the county.
Stark County.
Stark County.
Mhm.
Typically, in any given year, we see 3 to 4 cases a year, and that's
Wow.
usually due to travel. People who go somewhere, they pick it up, and they come back here. So it has been pretty intense. The state has reported nearly 5,000 cases.
So wait. So
Yeah.
you said we normally have about 3 cases in a year.
Correct.
And we've had
Across the county. Yeah,
across the county, we've had 137.
that's correct.
Which is I can't even do the math on how many times over 40 times. That's some ridiculous amount more than
Yes.
normal.
It is an outbreak, as we call it. It's a
Okay.
ongoing outbreak. Yes.
But I didn't know that this was even a thing. So explain to me that you're saying 3 cases.
Mhm.
3 people had some, and is it always from lettuce? Is there other
No.
stuff right now that people should be thinking about, other fruits and vegetables? And like, what is this? This is a thing. It's not new.
No.
This isn't new. It's just
Right.
worse, right?
So I think there's a really nice gem of a service that we provide to the community that people don't know. So part of the infectious disease prevention is surveillance.
Okay.
And so there is a huge list of infectious diseases that we monitor day to day. And anytime somebody's diagnosed with that or a physician suspects that somebody has that, it is required to be reported to the local health department where the
Okay.
person resides.
Mhm.
So all day long, we're getting positive and suspect, case reports.
Yeah.
And so we monitor those. We watch and we do surveillance to see, is it within what we would expect? Because there's always some exposure and there's always some cases
Mhm.
of difference. So that could be anything from like what we know as like our STIs or our sexually transmitted infections to, hepatitis, HIV, and then things that are far less likely to be here that we really want to keep an eye on because if we see it, we've got a problem. So that's like polio, measles, things that we've eradicated. And when we see those, and we know we have to kind of start our public health response immediately. So Cyclospora has been on the list for a very, very, very long time.
Okay.
And we have been monitoring it and expecting to see 3-ish cases a year due to travel. And then so once we saw the signal where we were getting increased case reports, lab reports, positive lab reports, we're like, hey, we got something going on here. We heard about it earlier in the northwest side of Ohio,
Okay.
and then we started seeing it here. So you can also kind of see that migration as things start spreading across the state.
Yeah.
And now I don't even know. I think it's 15 states now are affected by it.
Yeah.
So these pathogens are always potentially around us. And the things that we have to do to prevent ourselves are things that we've always kind of been taught, right? Wash your hands, wash your food, rinse your food, except for chicken.
Let's rewind. Okay. Let's break this down. This is a good lesson.
Yes.
It's smarter in seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when I'm at Walmart or at a store, I see, or Acme, or shout out to, whoever they are, right? I see these sprayer things like coming on and spraying the lettuce and stuff, right?
Yeah,
so looks like they're washing it pretty good. I don't know. What do I know? And then I get home and we throw it in the fridge, or something comes in a bag.
Sure.
I have never taken the shredded lettuce out of the bag before we had tacos and rinsed it off. And when I got a head of lettuce back in the day, before I was so lazy, I rinsed it off and did the thing.
Right.
Once it comes in a bag, I'm like, oh, that's safe somehow.
Right. I mean, but you could, right? So
should you?
I mean,
Or could you?
today I would.
Okay.
Yeah. I would, rinse it in a colander or something and let it drain, get some of the extra moisture out.
Because
Give
even
yourself a
something as
couple
simple.
extra
Now, you didn't say hose it down, bleach it. You didn't say do anything like that.
Just the water running off can potentially run the parasites or any pathogen off. The cyclo is a little bit, it's a little bit more resistant.
A little more feisty.
It's a little more feisty. Yep.
Yeah, it's trying to get you.
And the same thing with berries, because when the outbreak came out, they still were a little concerned about berries. So you want to rinse those also.
Yeah.
Our food is grown outside.
Yeah.
And our food is exposed to outside elements, which includes
a lot of stuff.
And there's a possibility of having a bacteria or our food exposed to that. So I think it's best practice to wash all that. Yeah. Cook your food to the temperatures. The best thing I ever did.
But don't rinse your chicken.
Well,
okay.
This is controversial, but the recommendation is not to rinse any meat product, because if it does have the bacteria on it, you're going to spread it. It's going to splash, and then
and on your counter.
It's on your counter, on your utensils, and maybe you're using to cook, and it can cause another problem. And cross-contamination is one of the top reasons people get sick in their own home.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I was going to say the best thing I ever bought was a meat thermometer. And I'll tell you, before I bought it, I didn't realize I was undercooking things.
So you were realizing, I would have said this was done by now.
Yeah. And then I put the meat thermometer. I'm like, oh, I've got 15 more degrees to go until. So you can get them at the dollar store. They're, it's a really good investment.
That's not just something for the grill.
No.
I use one on the grill, but other than that, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I know people want to cook their food to a certain, like medium well, like that kind of thing. And, I like to cook mine to where it's at the 165 or 145, whatever I'm cooking degrees, so that I don't get sick. Yeah.
Okay. So this is an interesting take. So what are you saying about us having our steaks at different temperatures? I mean, that's literally, when we say medium rare, medium, that is a temperature that they're trying to get to for flavor, for taste, for things like this. And I've noticed over time, there's things that they ask me about, and I'm thinking, I didn't even know you could ask me, like, how do you like your salmon or something? Like, what do you mean? I don't know, cooked. I didn't never even think that was a thing. The only thing I thought it was steak. There's places you go and they ask you, how do you want your burger?
Do you eat sushi?
I'm like, I don't do raw sushi.
Okay.
But my son does. He loves it. I love sushi, but I'm just afraid. So what's the deal with that? I mean, should we be eating sushi? Is that dangerous? Should we say medium, rare, medium? And I know you're not telling us what we can or can't do, but what is the recommendation?
The recommendation is to cook your food.
Just cook your food.
Cook your food thoroughly to the temperature, because that's what kills the pathogen.
So is a medium rare steak at the temperature that is a medium steak at the temperature?
I don't believe so.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't believe it is.
So every time you're risking
Have you ever gone to a restaurant and you look down at the bottom, there's a notice?
Warning. Yep. They're like, we're not guilty.
That's correct. And that's your decision. Yeah. But they're not taking responsibility for that. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a gamble when you go out, or if you cook at home, you're like, I want this to be medium rare or medium. Yeah.
And that's okay. That's a choice.
That's a choice.
Do you eat your steak? How do you eat your steak?
Why are you going to do that?
See what I'm saying? I do it. See, that was a great question. I was like, I have to ask, because anybody's in a position, we could say these are the things that are right, right? But it doesn't mean we take away people's free will. They still have the choice.
They have the choice. There's a preference there.
Yeah.
The recommendation is to cook it to a certain degree so that you kill the pathogen.
Yeah.
I actually have laid off of red meat for a while because
Yeah.
I have been diagnosed with high cholesterol,
Interesting.
and so I've been trying to eat more fish.
Yeah.
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 And I do cook my fish through. I do eat sushi from time to time from a restaurant.
Yeah.
And the restaurants that have the raw meats and things, they are held to a different standard because they have to show that they can handle it better than,
Yes.
because they have basically a product that it needs additional handling
Yeah.
than, food that's going to come in frozen or something like that.
Yeah.
So your spots that have the raw meat and they serve it that way do have additional requirements from our department of how they need to manage that meat when it comes in.
So that just reminded me. So what all does the city health department do? And you guys do food licensing.
Yeah. So, we do a lot.
Like
So
food trucks. I worked in daycare. We had you guys had to come out every so often and make sure those, how our food was prepared.
Yeah.
Restaurants, right? Help us understand it, because we all eat. We all go out to eat. We all go to food trucks. We go to these events downtown and we see
Right.
food trucks. Talk to us a little bit about that. What's that?
Yeah, so that kind of goes with the protect part of one of our tenants, which is, we want to protect the community from harm.
Yeah.
And so part of what we do is we're able to go, which is kind of codified in the Ohio Revised Code. We are responsible for inspecting and licensing restaurants, food trucks. If there's an event that has somebody came and they set up a table, we call that a temporary. So they do have to get licensed through us. And it really is just to make sure that they are following the proper procedures of letting the community know like where the product came from. And then also if there's any hand hygiene requirements, any cooling or heating requirements, that they're following those. So our inspectors go out. We also license tattoo establishments and your pools and your spas in the city of Canton. Waterborne illness is, there's a lot of potential for that. So we make sure that they're using the right chemicals, the temperatures are good, all of that for your pools and spas. So that's part of our environmental health side of things. And then, if there's complaints, we'll go out and have a conversation. Part of the interviews that we do with people who are diagnosed with an infectious disease is trying to find out where they might have eaten. And if we see a trend, then we'll respond. So if you think back to, that's kind of how the Taco Bell thing came up with the lettuce. You think back to, I don't know if you guys remember Chi-Chi's.
Yeah,
back in the day. So they
celebration of food.
That's right. Chi-Chi's. Fried ice cream.
Yes.
They had a foodborne outbreak back in the day that was tied to one pathogen. It was traced back to them. And so there have been other restaurants that have kind of been identified as sources. We also do air pollution surveillance. We do permitting. And then we also do monitoring, which is a surveillance. We can talk about the air quality if you want.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. So that's part of the surveillance again that we do. We're kind of always trying to keep, our thumb on the pulse of what's going on in the community and the environment. And so we do have an air pollution control division that is continuously monitoring the quality of air in Stark County. So even though they're at Canton City Public Health, they do it for the whole county.
Okay.
We have monitors throughout the county that are on roofs and kind of placed around that people don't know about.
No.
And we're constantly monitoring the air. We monitor it for all particulates. We monitor it for ozone, for different things. And then if there's a signal or something is off, kind of squirrely, then we can respond. And the community is probably most familiar with the last month's wildfires that really kind of hit us pretty hard.
I mean, you guys your charts are going crazy. Are your monitors like, what is happening here?
Yeah, we kind of saw
like a smoke detector going off.
Kind of, yeah, right. Yeah, we kind of, we because we monitor it, you can kind of start seeing it, and we have a team of engineers and air pollution control technicians that watch that, and they, with the wind patterns and what was going on, they could see that it was going to come in. And then we try to anticipate how bad is it going to get. And our team is very qualified. They're professionals, they're experts.
Yeah.
And so, once we identify that this is going to be a problem or it's going to, it's going to cause some health concerns, we start putting messaging out to the community. Yeah. And that's what happened with the wildfires. It went from category and it kept going up, and it was, it was unhealthy, and then it was unhealthy for sensitive folks because it's a little bit different, and then it became unhealthy for everyone.
Yeah.
And it was very bad.
There was a day or two where it was like hard to, you could just feel it, you could smell it, you could taste it.
Yeah.
It was just thick, you could see it. I mean, and that happened a few years ago as well.
Yes.
that we dealt with that. And I don't ever remember anything like that. So is there a level where it's like, could it, I'm assuming there's a level where it would be like nobody go outside
Yeah, we
at
hit
all?
that. I mean,
We did.
we did hit that. Yeah. And the recommend.
But people were outside.
I know. And people have to be outside.
Yeah.
And so then you have to think about, okay, well, what kind of practices can I put in to reduce their harm?
Yeah.
Right. And so, people who had to work outside, make sure that they're taking lots of breaks.
Mhm.
The mask situation for this, the particulate of concern here was too small for a mask to stop.
Really?
Yeah. So if somebody was going to wear like an N95 or something, it might stop some of the other pollutants, but not the one
Wow.
that was here. So it really was about limiting your exposure.
Yeah.
And so if you have any type of respiratory or cardiac issues, absolutely really need to limit
Yeah.
when it was that bad, because
Yeah.
it's that those particles are quite dangerous for respiratory inhalation. And once they get in your lungs, they can actually get into your blood, which can cause cardiac concerns. So that was, again, one of the reasons we needed to put that information out to the community.
Yeah.
We had a lot of community events trying to figure
We had
out
a lot
do
of
we need
things
to
going on,
reschedule them, have them go forward. Again, those were not mandates.
Do you guys, okay, so we went through the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff, and we don't need to get into the unfortunately the politics of it. It's odd that many of these things have become political instead of scientific,
Sure.
I suppose, right? Like
Yeah.
you talk, remind me again, you were talking about this earlier. Before you were the health commissioner at the city of Canton, what is your background in
Yeah.
pathogens and things like
Yeah.
you've been doing this for a while? What is that?
Yeah.
Talk
So
to us about
when I got out of grad school, the Canton City Public Health, I was hired by Canton City Public Health as an infectious disease, primarily infectious disease epidemiologist.
that.
And so
Epidemiologist studies potential epidemics.
it's correct.
What's
Yeah.
the difference between an epidemic and a pandemic?
So an epidemic is more locally, like maybe national. Pandemic is across the globe.
Okay.
Like yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And funny, I'm glad you clarified that, because when I first got the job, my dad was like, "Oh, so what are you going to do with skin? Is that epidermis?" Yeah. I was like, "Oh, yeah, no."
No.
So, so I was able to do that, but I was also epidemiologist. They also investigate and research any type of trends in public health. So any type of distribution of things that are abnormal. So we currently at the health department, we have a maternal and child health epidemiologist who is able to look at data and trends around maternal health and child health. There's also injury prevention epidemiologists that can look at injury states. So, car accidents, overdoses, things like that are going on. So really, it's really kind of a broad topic.
Mhm.
When I came in, I was under a certain grant. My background was in biology. And so I kind of fit into that infectious disease piece quite
Mhm.
well. And that's one reason why, talking to you here about this, I have some good background on it, because I was able to study that for quite a long time with the health department. And then when in 2020, January, I was promoted to a director role at the health department, and I was going to have many programs underneath me, one of them being epidemiology. But then in March 2020, COVID hit.
Oh.
And so I slid right back into epi work, because that's where the need was, obviously, and did that for the next year and a half.
What was your life like? So you went to school to study the possibility of an epidemic locally, and then obviously understanding. I'm sure you guys studied what a pandemic then was, because it's just expanding that out.
Yeah, it was
right?
kind of like, I remember friends were like, "This is your Super Bowl. You train for this." I'm like, "All right, yes, we
Really,
know
it
what we're doing."
was. Yeah.
And it's actually a good analogy, because the health department kind of is like a football team, right? Like we practice, we plan, we have tools and supports that when we get out to the big game, we're ready to rock and roll.
Like if something really, you know what I saw? I was involved. I think they did it at the Civic Center, and it was something, and I don't know if it was the health department, but it was something like they were practicing for. I think the fire department was involved
Sure.
for like if something happened with like some major contagion. This was
Yeah.
pre 2019. This was many years ago, and they were coming in with the suits and preparing for things.
Mhm.
I mean, you guys prepare for a lot of potential cases of things that we don't often think about. And when you go to your local doctor or take your child to the pediatrician, they're aware of things going on. But
Right.
they're not prepped. They're not like preparing every day that they're going to have to go out there and face it. That's
Right.
you. That's a role that you play.
Yeah. So somebody goes to a doctor's office. I mean, doctors are good at knowing situationally what's going on around them.
Yeah.
But all the information from all the doctors, all the hospitals in terms of infectious disease end up coming to us
Yeah.
or one of the 4 health departments in Stark County.
Mm-hmm.
And then we look at it kind of from a bird's eye, high level and say, okay, what's going on here? And is there a signal? Do we need to move? Do we need to notify?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, that's just what we consider like passive surveillance. We're just constantly watching these disease trends.
Right.
But yeah, COVID was tough. And we could probably have a whole different show about that. I think that we were prepared because 10 years prior, we had the H1N1 pandemic, which was flu.
Bird flu? Was that what that was called?
Yeah, it was avian flu. Yeah,
Avian flu.
yeah,
Okay,
bird flu.
they called it that.
Yeah,
I
the
remember
bird
that
flu.
because yeah.
And so we had the foundation of what we needed to do, but this pandemic was so different from that, and I think a lot of it was the politics.
Okay.
A lot of it was because it was a novel virus that we didn't have a lot of experience with.
Novel meaning new?
New, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, meaning new. And with influenza, we kind of know how it reacts, regardless of what variant it is or what. And so with COVID, there was a former SARS similar
Yeah, I remember
pathogen.
SARS.
Remember SARS back?
Yep.
Yeah.
People were masks. It was the first
Masks.
time in my life when I saw people
Yeah.
wearing masks, and I referred to masks as SARS masks.
Yeah.
Because that was from growing up in my life. It was like that was the first time I actually, and not to the level we did during COVID,
Right.
And in bigger like other countries like China, other places where there was like mass populations, tons of people
Right.
were wearing them more, and I remember thinking, oh, that's a SARS mask. for
Right.
some
That's a
reason.
SARS. That's funny.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I
funny.
thought it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that the reality was we were prepared as much as we could ahead of time.
Mhm.
And we knew how to do mass vaccine clinics. We knew how to isolate and quarantine people,
Mm.
which is standard public health practice when
Yeah.
people get sick. But it became political,
Mm.
and our tools that we used to stop infectious disease spreading were under attack. And so, the vaccines, the isolation, the quarantine, the education, and so it was very difficult to wade through all that noise. And I think one of the things that we did quite well was working in the community to make sure that we were present.
Yeah.
We had our mass vaccine clinics. We went out to the community several times, different areas of the community. We moved our mass vaccine clinics around.
Mass?
Mass.
You're not saying mask.
No,
You're
mass.
saying mass. Is it
Mass.
many? Okay, vaccine clinics, which
Yeah.
are places people could go get vaccinated.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you.
So we had them at the Civic Center. We had them down on the Southeast End. We had them at Malone. We had them at the different centers across the city so that people could access them.
Mhm.
And we relied really heavily on our community partners. So we worked closely with some of our faith-based partners,
Yeah.
knowing that their congregations had older population. We held slots back on our schedule so that our faith-based partners could get their congregation in. And I think that really went a long way for trust and access. But yeah, it was difficult.
So, okay, so interestingly enough, vaccines have become a very political thing. And I don't know. I always say I'm careful on the show. Like my goal is never to like ask some pressing question or something. I mean, obviously in your position and in your role, there's a belief about what's right and what people should do to stay healthy. To say what I think quickly, and then to just hear what you think about it. As a child, I was vaccinated against many things.
Sure.
And when I was a child, I got chickenpox. When my kids were children, they didn't.
Right.
Because they were vaccinated, right? Is that what it was? It was enough years of it. So I had chickenpox. I was itching all over. I missed a week of school. My sister had it. She was itching all over. She had missed a week of school. My mom tells me they had measles and mumps. And she was like, it was miserable and horrible. I never had measles and mumps because I had MMR, right? I had a shot or something that took care of that. And my mom was a nurse, and we got our vaccinations. And that was very normal. And we got them on the regular schedule and whatever. And it was it.
Right.
It wasn't a lot of stuff. I worked in childcare. When kids came to register, we needed your shot records, and we had to make a copy of it. So that's why I'm familiar with like measles, mumps, rubella. I've read the shot record many times just to make sure they're good. Okay, cool. Sign your kid up. Let's roll.
Right.
Then we had 2020, and a lot of questions started to come up. And I too was a person who was like, I don't know, this is crazy. I don't know. I'm not taking this thing. And it happened so fast.
Sure.
And even my doctor was like, she was like, well, things early are usually, I think of it like a PlayStation, a video game. Like when your PlayStation first comes out, it's going to have a bunch of problems. You're in line. If you get one of the first ones, it's a brand new car.
Yeah.
There's bugs they haven't figured out yet. And they're like, oh yeah, we had to patch that through and we had to fix it. So I was like, I don't know. And then there was the thought of, yeah, this is about testing control of people. There was a lot of thoughts. And I don't need to get into all the politics of it.
Right.
But when you think about a vaccine,
Mm-hmm.
is there, because our national government is saying something, does everybody just line up with that? Does it state to state?
Mm-hmm.
As a city, do we have a stance on that? Like, and I don't want to put you in any corner, so I don't know what you guys say about this, but what is
Sure.
the take on, should people vaccinate their children? Are vaccines good? Is it just a personal choice and belief?
Sure.
What in the world, where are we at with it today?
Okay. So let me start by saying that I think when we have controversial issues like this,
Mm-hmm.
the way that I like to approach them is, what is it that we all want? Let's start at the goal,
end. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think when I look at these issues, the goal is we all want to be healthy and happy. Yeah. And then take a step back and say, okay, well, what's keeping us from there? Or what, so we can kind of continue to be on the same ground, agreed upon, until we get to the point where it's kind of sticky.
What's the solution? Right?
And I think the sticky part is different for everybody. So I think these are conversations that individuals need to have with their physicians. Mm-hmm. I think that, someone's hesitancy to a vaccine could be based on, historical trauma. Yeah. It could be based on an experience a friend had. And so for someone to come out and say, you absolutely have to do this, it's mandated, it's this, it's that, is difficult for people to understand. Yeah. However, with that being said, I would say that vaccines are our best technology, our best tool against the spread of disease, which as a health department, again, that's one of our tenets is prevent the spread of disease. Yeah. You said it, our generation, or my generation and your generation.
We can't be that far apart. I don't know what you're talking about.
We have had the luxury of not having to deal with many diseases that cause debilitation, that cause long-term poor health outcomes. Polio.
Physical problems.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, measles can cause neurological issues, blindness, death. And so I encourage people to have those conversations with their doctors. But from a health department standpoint, we're going to prevent, protect, promote. We're going to promote vaccines as the best tool we have. I also think that, as a society, I think we've kind of got away from understanding what our societal responsibility is. If your child is going to go to a public school and you're going to reap the benefits of that public system, then there's certain things you need to do that are going to help keep the public safe. And part of that is vaccines. So, individuals can choose not to do that. There are exemptions if there is a religious or, some type of exemption, and that's fine. But I think then the challenge becomes, what are you going to do when there is an outbreak? So what would happen is if there's an outbreak in that school, let's say of measles, kids who are vaccinated can maintain in that classroom because they have that vaccine's efficacy is like 97%.
Right.
If you're unvaccinated, we're going to pull your kids out of school because they're at high risk. And if they were exposed, they need to be removed and quarantined with you at home. And then the question is, who's going to stay with those children at home? Now it becomes an economic question, right? So for 21 days, while we monitor,
what is that?
So 21 is the incubation period for measles. So every pathogen would be different.
Right.
And some might be shorter, but some might be longer. Measles is 21 days. So if your kid is unvaccinated and they're in a school system and they're exposed, we would remove them from that classroom. They would go home and we would monitor them for signs and symptoms. Or if they were exposed, we could offer them vaccination and put them back in class. So I think the second part of it is, if something does happen as a parent, it's your choice, but how you need to have a plan of how you're going to handle that, because the reality is measles is back. I have some data here that kind of talks about that. So just in our area, Northeast Ohio, we've had...
And measles is back because of a lack of vaccinations?
Yeah.
It's not stronger or mutated into something that we didn't know about.
It's the vaccine that was invented, in the 60s or 70s is still the vaccine we use. So measles is a very stable pathogen. Like, we know a lot about
measles.
It's
not mutating all the time. Like COVID-19 is a new one. It's
it's just, I think, the vaccine rates have dropped throughout different areas. There's clusters of groups who do not vaccinate. Yeah. And the other part of it that's big is we move a lot more now. People, we travel, we're on planes, we do, planes, trains, and automobiles. And so if you go to another country and you're unvaccinated, most of the measles cases we used to see were not acquired in Ohio, right? So they were travel related.
Yeah.
They'd come in, we'd identify them, we would isolate that positive person, we'd stop transmission. Now it's not like that. The other thing about measles, which is there's two things that make it so it's the most contagious pathogen.
Is it? Measles.
It is measles, and there's two reasons. Well,
Okay.
yeah, one is because if I walk into a room with measles, I'm symptomatic, and I leave. Anybody who walks into that room 2 to 3 hours after I leave is exposed.
What?
So you might not even know that
I
you've
didn't
been
even see the
exposed.
person who had it.
You'd had no contact because it hangs in the air. So if you're unvaccinated and you walk in there, you potentially could be exposed. The other part, which makes it very difficult to control, is that you're infectious before you're symptomatic. So a lot of times with pathogens and diseases, if once you're symptomatic, we know you're sick, we know you're infectious.
We isolate you,
and we
handle
isolate,
it,
and we're good. But with measles, you are actually infectious 1 to 4 days before you show symptoms. So you could be out doing your thing,
partying, having a good time, laughing, drinking, hanging out
with your friends,
full of people.
Yep.
And then even when you leave the room, it's still out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you look at all these kind of dynamics of
and
how
what
these
does measles do? What does measles attack? And what is the problem with measles? What the chickenpox, I had it. I can tell you how it felt, what it was doing from what I remember. What does measles do to you?
Yeah. So short answer is measles is a virus. And so it's going to end up giving you really high fever, which is potentially dangerous for kids and adults.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of symptoms that go with it. The biggest scare for measles is blindness, which is not all the cases, right? Like that's the and then ultimately death. And I believe with this most recent, well, we use Texas, for example. I think they had 3 deaths related to measles in children. And, it's hard to hear that because it is preventable.
Yeah.
And so, we are lucky here in Canton. Our vaccine rates are pretty good. They could be better. We've seen a little bit of a decrease, but by and large, and I think a lot of that has to do with our school systems, educating people about vaccines and using Canton City schools as a partner in that. And people want their kids to be in school, right? And so doing what they need to do to get their kids in school.
Is there? And we're going to wrap up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for being here. This is a great conversation. If people aren't watching it live, hopefully you watch the replay, or we're going to cut these clips and put them out there. But last question.
Yes.
There's a big concern about vaccines and autism.
Yes.
There was I don't remember. I mean, we talk about this. It's I can think of, me and my family have talked back and said, maybe this was autism in me, in my siblings, in whoever.
Right.
And we didn't know it. And it was on the spectrum of something, but then that wasn't a thing.
Right.
It was just you're having a hard time with this, or you're having a hard time with that, but you're really good at this. You're really smart in this. And it was just stuff.
Right.
It was just stuff. And now autism is being shown, and there's some extreme cases, and there's a lot going on there. Right. And so people are now saying, well, it must be in the vaccine. And we do have a hard time trusting our government culturally in the African-American community. There's studies and things that have happened. And just across the board, I think a lot of people are just skeptical of the government in general.
Right.
They're skeptical of what they're giving us. They're skeptical of what they're trying to test and do to us. And then autism wasn't a thing. And now it seems like there's tons of autism. And what does everybody get? Well, everybody gets a vaccine, so that could be a tie.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know where that thought came from exactly. But it's a real concern.
Sure.
What does the health department, what do you say? What do we think about that? How do we deal with that thought?
Yeah. So, we're not part of that research necessarily, but we do read it and we kind of watch. And so the thought among the leading researchers on that right now is that there is no tie to receiving a vaccine and then developing autism. One of the most recent articles and research that I read was that they've kind of determined that autism gene, or that is identified in early development. So before a child would even get a vaccine. And so now we don't know what that switch is from when the gene is turned on. But what they're thinking is that it might be environmental. It could also just be genetic. Sometimes we have genes, and then what happens is, you hear about sometimes, some child who's later in life diagnosed with autism, they were born and everything was fine. And then maybe you don't really see the signs or symptoms until they get a little bit older. The gene might have just turned on. Sometimes that happens. It happens with people with addiction. You might think about, everyone's got like a brother or an uncle or somebody who can go Yeah. and party, drink, whatever, and that, smoke or whatever, and they're not addicted. Well, their addiction gene has never kicked on. Or you'll know somebody who did it like their whole life, and then when they're 50, all of a sudden they have a problem.
Right.
So, I think the answer is there's no evidence to suggest that those two are linked currently, and so they're looking to see what it is. I think that the federal government has been very chatty about it, and I think it's confusing for people.
Yeah. They're chatting about things maybe they should be researching and figuring out before they bring it to the public and cause concern,
that would be nice.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's certainly confusing.
I don't think there's anybody that doesn't want to know what the cause of autism is, or what leads to it, or if there's risk factors, or But I think the other part of it is, just, we have to be really mindful that behind all these studies are people.
Yeah.
And, we're basically saying, well, we want to cure this. We want to, and there are people who are living with autism who don't necessarily need cured. Right. So think about, the language that we use and, what it's actually saying. So, I just think that we have a responsibility, if we have the opportunity to be clear and transparent with the communities that we serve, that's what we should be doing. And whatever is happening above my pay grade in the federalness, I do not believe is doing that. And so it's our job to be here for our community when they have questions and, confusion. And that's kind of what the goal is for us.
I love that. All right. We're going to wrap.
Okay.
Quick speed round.
Okay.
All right. So my question to you, and this just popped in my head.
Okay.
Things that you think could be cured in our lifetime. And let's say, so we're going to say in the next 40 years. All right.
Yep.
And do you think it's possible? And my first question, the only answer you can give me to these are yes or no.
Oh boy.
The first question is, well, okay, if you have to give me a little bit of nuance, you give me a little bit of nuance. First of all, do you think AI is going to help us cure diseases faster than anything ever in human history? Yes or no?
Yes, and.
Okay.
Yes.
Quick and.
Yes, and we need to make sure that we are using it for the benefit of the people.
Okay, I understand, and I don't have time to get I'm so fascinated myself. They just used AI to make diseases recently, I understand. But the disease, what they made they made something, a pathogen, I would say. But the pathogen attacks pathogens. Like the thing they made was to attack things that make us sick.
Was it an antibody?
It was something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But they said basically they called it a disease. But I suppose in theory, a lot of those things it is something that can attack something else, right? So it attacks a living thing, and that living thing just happens to be the thing that attacks us. So anyway, they said that, but then they were like, with that ability means they could make something brand new, because they were like, these are brand new. We could make something brand new that attacks people. That would be dangerous. Okay. Right. In our lifetime, do you think we will cure AIDS?
Oh yeah.
In the next 40 years?
Yeah, we now have medication where people are zero in terms of passing on the virus to people. Mm-hmm. So you can literally be diagnosed with HIV and not be a risk to the public or other people if you're on medication. So I 100%.
You think one day someone will be able to, I have it, and then you gave me something and I don't have it anymore?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
What was another one I was thinking? I don't want to jump to the biggest ones too fast. All right. I was thinking there's many other sexually transmitted diseases. I don't know, chlamydia, gonorrhea, things like that. I don't even know if those are in a case where now we consider that we can just get rid of them. Well, I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's I'd have to really kind of dig into that.
Yeah.
Gonorrhea's had a kind of a resurgence, and it's also coming up as resistance to some medications. So it's changing.
Yeah.
And so if it does that now, it might do it in the future, and we might just be chasing it for a while.
Sure.
Chlamydia, these are also very prevalent in our community. And so tracking people down and getting
that is fascinating to me. But anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's fascinating. Okay.
Yeah.
Very prevalent. People need to be careful.
They do. Yes.
We're living in Canton City, Stark County. You're telling me there's people walking around. I mean, you're not telling me anybody's business, but we have numbers of sexually STIs now. They're called, right?
Yes.
They were STDs when I was young.
Yeah.
STIs, sexually transmitted infections.
That's
is that what I is now?
Yep.
We changed it from disease because disease was too scary. Or
well, disease implies like you got it forever, or like infection is we can help you out.
Okay, got you.
Come see us, we'll help you out. Yes.
Got you. Okay, but there's that's going on.
Yeah.
Breast cancer.
Yeah. Yes,
Next 40 years?
yeah, and potentially with the help of AI.
Okay.
Because, you know, when I think about AI in healthcare, I think of it as helping us read diagnostic tests, right? Faster, more
and
accurately.
massively, and like you can look at a bunch
Looking
of
for
data.
a nuance of a tumor that's starting. Yeah. So, you know, our rates of cancer survival have increased significantly over the last
Either with
20
just
years.
whatever the technology is.
Yeah.
and now we
So
have one.
I don't know if we're going to cure it as in like it doesn't exist anymore,
Okay,
but I
yeah.
think we can treat it and have really good outcomes.
Great.
Yeah.
Really lower the rate. Would you say the same for most other cancers, lung cancer, skin cancer,
Yeah.
or those are very different? Some of those things can be very different.
Yeah, so I'm not an expert in those. I
Yes.
just kind of know kind of peripherally. I know I know the rate of like the bad skin cancer of, you know, poor outcomes has decreased significantly over the last 10 years or so.
Right.
So we're finding those sooner and we can treat those. I think some of the harder ones to treat, I think we have to kind of figure out why they're so invasive and deadly, which they're working on. So I think it's kind of different. You know, cancer is actually, as sad as it is, it's relatively common. It's like 1 in 4 females and 1 in 3 males will get cancer, give or take. Yeah, over the lifespan. It just kind of, I know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's all types. Cancer is not just one thing. There's a lot of different things. So I think we have a lot of work to do there.
Right.
But I don't know in our lifetime, but I think it's going to get better and our outcomes are going to get better.
Do you think we're going to live longer? Are we living longer? And do you think we're going to continue to live longer? Or do you think, you know, there's just going to be a new disease, so there's always going to be something? What do you think? Because my thought is,
do we want to live longer?
I don't know. I think nobody wants to die. I would say everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die.
Right.
Nobody's like, yeah, I want to go to heaven. Hurry up, sign me up. And if they do want to die, we say something's wrong and they need help because something's wrong. So what do we do? I mean, I don't know.
I think if we can couple quality of life with longevity,
with quantity of life,
then,
that's important.
Yeah,
we don't want to be 120 and miserable since we were 80.
Right.
That's 40 years of sitting around.
Nonsense. Yeah.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you look at the last 100 years, our life expectancy has increased like 25 years.
Yeah, that's
right. So
huge.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, you know, a lot of it is due to vaccines. A lot of it is due to public health interventions. You know,
hand washing,
things
we didn't know existed.
Clean water, clean air. You know, a lot of things that you know, access to medication, access to treatment, which we still have a lot of work to do on those. But I could see life expectancy going up. It went down for a while.
Did it?
Yeah. So during the kind of peak of the opiate epidemic,
really
across the nation,
we're talking about 2015, 2020. I mean, we're not that one. No. What was the peak of the opiate?
I'm gonna say kind of like 2020 to 20. Let's say I have to look 2019 to 2023, 24. Nationally,
recent, very recent. Okay.
Nationally, our life expectancy went down because we lost so many people to addiction and drug overdose. Yeah. So this last year is the first or second year that we've actually seen a significant decrease in drug overdoses, both here locally and nationally.
Okay, we got to end this episode. You probably have to go work. She's our health. She's that important around here. Okay, I don't have anything to do. No, maybe I do. Real quick though. Okay, when you look at epidemics, what else are like a drug addiction is not. I don't know. Let me say this, and this is probably wrong. A drug addiction is not a disease. Okay, that's what I want to say first. And I know that's not quite true. But let's just say I knew someone many years ago who was, you know, smoking a cigarette, let's call it. I mean, it was probably weed, but let's say it was a cigarette. And somebody laced it with a heavier drug, cocaine or something, right? Yeah. Crack, I think it was.
Sure.
Then they became addicted to crack.
Okay.
They didn't intend to be a crack addict, but once they had it, they were craving it and then whatever, right? So it's like I can catch measles.
Sure.
But I can't catch an addiction to cocaine unless I took cocaine. Or what? Or is it a disease? Like what? How do you parse that out? Because I hear addiction as a disease. How does that play out?
Yeah. So you know, the research has kind of changed our language and has shown that addiction is a disease. It's a brain disease, and it does meet the criteria based on how they determine these. So like, you can't catch addiction. You can't catch cancer either, but we still consider it a disease. It's still impacting. It's still impacting a system, and it's a disease identified, recognized by mental health professionals. And so I think that we have to, and we have started changing our language around there. And I think that we kind of talked about it earlier. It's kind of helped reduce stigma. The health department has some really robust programs for people who are struggling with addiction. We have programs where we meet people where they are. We help them kind of where they are so that they will be healthy enough to seek treatment when they're ready. And so, I think that treating addiction like a disease actually gives us an opportunity to treat it. Before, when it was your willpower, it's a moral failing. That is 100% on that person to change their behavior. When they're chemically dependent on, and they don't even understand
their
life is in chaos. And so I think that once you identify it, then we have tools that we can use to get you to where you need to be healthy.
So. What are your thoughts on gambling and the fact that right now, DraftKings and all not to call anybody out, but there's a bunch of them, Kalshi and all these things where you can gamble on the weather. There's a lot of young people I know that specifically I'm aware that a lot of young people, young men, sports enthusiasts, but people probably of all ages are now where gambling was a thing. And at some point they started saying people who had gambling addictions.
Right.
And those people who you knew had gambling addictions were always running off to somewhere that had legal gambling and at a casino somewhere.
Right. Next big win. Next one's it.
That was it, right? Yeah. Or maybe a lottery addiction of some sort, right?
Sure.
But that was still something functional. Even the lottery only happened once a day and then twice a day or something.
Right.
Now gambling is constant. There's always sports on, and now you can gamble again, literally on whether the sun's going to come up at the right time or something. I don't know. Is gambling looked at as a true addiction, and what in the world is going on there? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it is. And so it's very similar. The framework is you're chasing that dopamine. Right. So dopamine is your chemical in your brain. It's like your pleasure chemical. When you eat a good meal, you go to a comedy show and you laugh and you just feel good when you walk out. It's that feel good. And so people who have addiction to gambling, that's why they're always going for that one next. They want that dopamine hit.
It's beyond the money. It's beyond the.
Oh yeah. It's that you're pulling that lever. You're just constantly waiting for that. And when you do get that hit, like say you play lottery and you win something,
it reinforces.
Oh, it feels great. You feel like you're a winner. You almost forget what you've spent because you have that win in front of you. I was taught a while ago that the definition of addiction is basically where you're going to continue to do something regardless of any type of societal negative impact or outcomes. Right. So if you're continuing to gamble, but yet you can't pay your rent, you're continuing to drink, but you get a DUI, you're doing drugs and you lost your job or your house. These are those negative outcomes that are based on your addiction. That's when you need to get help. Even before that, hopefully you identify, there's usually some things before that where you're like, this is not in line with who I need to be. And, that kind of goes back to some of the work that Melissa was talking about. We have so many fantastic, robust programs here in Stark County. We are so blessed. You go a little bit south from here, a lot less. We have amazing community partners of care, I like to call them. And I always, tell people, if you can get into one of them, doesn't matter who it is, you need to go get food, you need some mental health support, you need to come to us for something, we will get you connected to everybody else, right? Because we all work so closely together. So, it's almost like it takes that one first step, whatever that help ask is. It doesn't matter what it is. We'll work to get some wraparound services wherever somebody walks in Stark County.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Our friend Lori at Mentor Stark, she calls it a web of support, and she talks about it for young people and people. But as adults, we need that web of support, and you guys connect those dots. Amanda, thank you so much. I said it earlier. From the moment you got the position, I didn't know you then, but I was like, wow, this is wonderful, and a woman in this position. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know it's a lot of work, and I know there's a lot going on. There's a lot of now things that people didn't once have to deal with again politically, and then so much stuff that's heavy,
right?
Along with research, along with AI, along with a lot of stuff. And so to be in the position you're in, I think means so much to our community, just that someone has to lead that organization.
Sure.
And then the work that you guys do and the services you guys provide, I think is just tremendous.
Yeah, well, thank you. I could talk about the health department for hours. I'm so proud, just like Melissa, it really boils down to the team.
Yeah.
One of the things that I talked about in my interview, and I do believe that I've delivered, is investing in our workforce.
Yeah.
You can't have good, consistent programming or supports to the community if you don't invest in the people that come to work every day.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been my motivation as we worked through the last 2.5 years. And I'm really excited about. I've got a lot of people who want to be there, and they buy into the vision, and I'm excited about the future. So thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
My absolute pleasure, and I have to have you back. And I actually thinking of a new thing that I'm going to launch. I'm always launching something. My wife's not watching. Like, this boy does one more new thing. No, she's very supportive. We did a community spotlight for a while here, and we would talk about different things going on in the community. It's like this event is happening, and that event is happening.
Yeah.
But I think there's some things that maybe. Like I have a simple technology where I could send a question. Maybe this is something you'd be willing to do for us. I could send you a question. It comes up as a prompt on your phone through a link, and you hit the link, and then you answer the question. You just record the answer. And maybe there could be some things where I send you a link, you record an answer for us, and I play it back on the show and say, I've reached out to Amanda to get a thought on what the heck is going on with artists, just as a media outlet here in our community to help keep people informed and say, a lot of you guys I know are dealing with this. I reached out to Amanda, and she sent me back this video, and it's, a couple minutes or whatever, and I'm going to play it here, and here's what we need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that.
Really
yeah.
cool.
I mean, we want to be a resource for the community, so, anything that we can do to help share information or, build that trust and we're 100% there for them.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're going to start that. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, it's out there now.
It's out there now. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to do it already. I'm like, I could just have a show full. I could just be like, I got 20 people on today because I got all the information you guys need to know. Anything else we need to know?
No, I just really appreciate the opportunity. It's been a pleasure. I want the community to know that we are a resource for them. We are their health department.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that we can do, or if they need help connected to services, I guess just to finish up, we did talk a lot about health department. We have so many other things going on.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that next time.
I love it.
To be continued.
To be continued, and I will absolutely have you back. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, awesome. Thank
you
Lucas.
so much. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being here with us one more time on Lucas Live. Shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to Sarda, Jessica Danielle Nails, the Linda Reibenstein team, and shout out to Ace Carpet Cleaning, as well as Footage Fusion and Tyndale Training. Thank you guys so much for being our loyal viewers, followers. Hope you guys got something out of today's conversation. We will put out some clips out there if you guys didn't get a chance to watch it. We went 30 minutes over. So what? We had a lot to talk about today, okay? I'm grateful to my guests, Melissa Coultas and Amanda Archer, for being here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. This Wednesday, we have my friend Marcus Bentley talking to us about the Road to the Classic coming up. The HBCU Classic is coming this Labor Day weekend, as we've had it year after year here in Canton, Ohio. Shout out to everybody for the Pro Football Hall of Fame and all the festivities. Shout out to the Chamber, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Shout out to the city. Everybody who had a part in that. We had a wonderful, safe weekend. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. Marcus Bentley will be here. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Lucas Live. Everybody have a great day.